Hey, Shalom Akim, Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Hakwadash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing the words in sincerity and truth. It's the brother Ariala. And on this lesson, we're going to call it Confusion is Increasing. Confusion and perplexity is increasing. I want to start off by reading the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, and the 10th verse. It says, "The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone." And this is what we see increasing inside of Daughter of Babylon, Mystery Babylon, America, is that the city of confusion is being broken down. And actually, because of the state of things, things are just becoming more and more confused. And I looked up this word confusion in the Hebrew, and when you look it up, it's Strong's 84:14, and the word is tahau, right? And so when you read this, it says formless, confusion, unreality, emptiness, formlessness, nothingness, right? That which is empty or unreal, like idols, wasteland or wilderness, places of chaos, vanity. And I want to hinge on D and E in the subsections here of place of chaos and vanity. This is what we're seeing increasing as today. What I want to highlight is the amounts of refugees that are on the border here in Texas and Florida. The refugees that are being flown in from Afghanistan is increasing the amount of confusion and perplexity that's going on inside of America and really around the world right now, okay? And because there's all different types of things and possibilities that can come from it. You know, why are the Haitians on the border right now? Are there potential terrorist threats among the Haitian people that are on the border? What type of, they're going back and forth on the border. Are they bringing more of the increases in the pandemic? What about the Afghanis? There's some Taliban over in Virginia right now. There's just perplexity and confusion that's being increased all over the place because the Most High is stirring the pot. He's stirring the pot. He wants, and this is all a part of prophecy. Now I want to play a little bit of this clip right here and then get a couple more scriptures to highlight the point. Let me turn this up a little bit.
Joe Biden. His name is Bruno Ralphie Lozana. He tweeted out, "The U.S. is failing to protect its borders. Why aren't you here?" He was tweeting out at Vice President Kamala Harris.
No one knows where Kamala Harris is. Like, where is she? Where is she? We ain't seen her at a press conference. Biden boo-booing on himself. She need to step up. He can't even hold his doo-doo. If she could have got up there and said something, maybe he could have went to the bathroom. I don't know. Where is she?
Harris. Okay. Meanwhile, you had the Representative August Flager, Republican of Texas, saying, "Yeah, this is a pretty major crisis that we are looking at right now. This is not just some sort of temporary problem. And of course, this is part of a broader crisis." Okay, here's Representative Flager.
Oh, before we play that, just look how many people there are. I mean, droves and droves of people. All lined
some of the video have built themselves sort of ramshackle structures using essentially leaves and sticks in order so that they don't burn to death or dehydrate to death under the overpass. So it's a humanitarian crisis as well. Fox News' Bill Malugin, he says, "Listen, our border is wide open."
This is where hundreds of people are streaming into the United States illegally right now. Certainly does not look like an international border there, but you can see the crowds of people down there. These are people who have just crossed it. And Brian, if we can pin up that dirt path, take a look. That's where they're all walking to the bridge right now. That's why there's so many people under the bridge. You can see them streaming in across the Rio Grande. That's when they officially cross illegally into the United States. And seeing the scope of it all over the place, it's wild. I mean, our border is wide open where you're looking at right now.
Yeah, amazingly, the FAA had actually attempted to ban drone footage from this particular area, citing lack of safety protocols, which of course is incredibly silly because they've had drones over there for quite a while. That was purely an attempt to stop the news from covering it, and then when they got caught, then they reversed our crisis. Hey, here's Representative Flager.
You can see the tragedy coming across the Weir Dam. We're about 100 yards away from the International Bridge in Del Rio. over 14,800 people as of this morning, up from 12,000, up from 10,000. And this week, we have surged from 1 to 2,000 to 14,000. This is a crisis.
Bro, that's an army. That's an army. 14,000 people. That's an army. You could take over a couple of cities if you wanted to. You know, so you have all these people fleeing into Texas, complete chaos. You don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with these people. You know, they don't know what's going on. Confusion and perplexity.
We need the administration to call it a crisis, to take action, not just here, but all along our southern border, where we're going to have 2 million people, illegal immigrants that are documented. That doesn't include the gotaways. It doesn't include the known or suspected terrorists. We need the administration to do something right now.
According to Pfluger, a lot of these people are military-aged males. He reportedly told Fox News there was allegedly criminal activity taking place in the area where illegal immigrants were staying under the bridge. According to Pfluger, the border officials told him this was the worst that they have ever seen it. He also said this was worse than you could imagine, and he said the worst is yet to come, because if they decide to riot or if unrest happened, it would be a terrible situation. It's ripe. It's 100 degrees outside right now. You literally have 14,878 people here. That's how serious the situation is right now. Even the New York Times reported that local officials are describing the scene as a, quote, shanty town with little access to clean water and food and just a few portable toilets. The Times noted no running water at the site. Photos showed people having to carry large packages of bottled water into the area. So as I say, the governor of Texas sent some people in there to try and clean things up. And this then prompted the Biden administration to respond. The U.S. is now saying that we are going to start flying people out of there. Apparently, we're going to start flying 5 to 8 flights a day from the area starting on Sunday. Another official from the government expected no more than 2 a day, said everyone would be tested for COVID-19. Now, remember, that had been one of the...
Now, so they're going to be able to have to round these people up, do all this type of stuff. You know, now the propaganda of COVID, the propaganda of terrorism is creating nothing more but confusion and perplexity. Here in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, and you go down to the 25th verse, it talks about this end times with the return of Yahushua. And it says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon earth distress of nations. And we're seeing all these things, man. We're seeing all types of celestial events with eclipses, blood moons, blue moons, wolf moons, all types of moons. All types of signs in the sky. We're seeing chariot sightings, all right? All types of signs in the stars, okay? All of these things have been happening. Distress of the nations, okay? Look at Australia. Australia is in complete military, full-blown martial law lockdown. There's war and raging in the streets of France, Italy, Spain, all right? People are tired of being on lockdown. People are tired of the mandates, all right? There's there's fighting within the governments all across the world. A teeter-tottering economy that's being pumped up. So all these things are happening. All right. It says with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Right. We got a hurricane on its way right now to the United States. So all of these things are happening prophetically. Looking up this word, distress. Look this word up, distress.
Strong's G 4928 Sunache.
All right. Straits, distress, anguish. All right. Now, I want to skip down a little bit and get the word perplexity. These are all the things that's coming. All right. Strong's G
640 Aparia.
Let's get the root to that. Right?
Strong's G 639 Apareo.
Right. And that word goes back to the word doubt, right? Perplexed. It says to be without resources. So now we're seeing all of these people here are in a state of perplexity that are in these refugee camps. They're without resources, food, water, medicine, basic necessities, toiletry. Right? To be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed, to be in doubt, not to know which way to turn. And this is what's happening in a lot of places when they're putting mandates at your job for you to take the Vicky. You're getting put in a state of perplexity. You got all these nurses quitting their jobs. Meanwhile, the hospitals are under distress because of all of the infections that are so-called increasing. Perplexity. To be at a loss with oneself. Be in doubt. Everybody is questioning themselves. When you go to work, when you go out and about, when you talk to people, they're stressed. They're in a state of doubt. They don't know, man, I might have a job. I don't know. This and we're going to be mandated. Is this going to work? Am I going to die? Am I going to live? We're in a state of perplexity. Not to know how to decide or what to do, to be perplexed. And Esau is thriving off of this spirit of confusion, because out of that is where he's going to want to bring in measures and regulations and control for your safety. This is why Biden got up there and he said, hey, this ain't got nothing to do with your freedom. It's about your safety. Out of all of the chaos and everything, order out of chaos, they're going to want to bring in the MOB systems, right? And so you're going to see more and more tumults amongst the rulers of this world, amongst the people, okay?
26 Republican governors now want action, and they are now demanding President Biden meet with them within the next 2 weeks. Yeah, they have a deadline on this. They've written a letter all together, and you see at the end of the letter, they've all signed it. As chief executives of our states, we request a meeting with you at the White House to bring an end to the national security crisis created by 8 months of unenforced borders. It's about a page and a half. 3 of those governors are in focus now. Doug Ducey of Arizona, Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas, and Brian Kemp of Georgia. Gentlemen, great to have you on the program. First of all...
And then that was just interesting how they have the black woman interviewing all these old white men, you know.
Governor Ducey, I want to start with the letter and really get a drill down on what you're hoping to accomplish, because we in the press can't even get the president to take our questions.
Well, it's time for the Biden administration to act. Border security has been seen as something that the southern states have to deal with on the border. The reason that you have Governor Hutchinson and Governor Kemp here from Arkansas and Georgia is because something that's become national security, because we don't know who's coming over the border, has become public safety. The drugs and crime that we're seeing rising in our states and flooding over the border is infecting our schools and neighborhoods.
And it's all for them to round up Jacob. It's all for them to round up you Israelites, man. This is all spiritual, man. All right. Anytime that Esau has gone out in the world, he's spread the Vicky everywhere. He's destroyed nations. He's removed landmarks. He need you know what? Let me find that scripture. It says, was it Habakkuk? Well, this is a good one too. Isaiah 5:8. It says, "Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth." You know, he's gone and taken all these lands. I believe what I'm thinking about is in Habakkuk, where it talks about they neither leaveth at home. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. We don't have to read it. I'll just quote it. But he's just in place, creating more and more and more mischief. But he'll tell you that you're the problem, you know. So all of this is just creating more confusion and perplexity for the people to be at war, for the people to fight amongst each other, okay? All right, in Isaiah, the 59th chapter, and in verse 4, it says, "None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity." And this is what the evil do, man. When you go down to verse 7, it says, "Their feet run to evil. They make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace." And this is what's going on when you have the wicked at rulership. It's just constant. People being messed with, people being displaced, people being put in positions of complete perplexity, man. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. And it's all to subjugate and control. Here in this article on voanews.com, it says, "Growing hostility to Afghan refugees shows GOP divide." As the U.S. rushes to evacuate Americans and allies from the chaos of Afghanistan, and this was written on August 28th. As the U.S. rushes to evacuate Americans and allies from the chaos of Afghanistan, a growing number of Republicans are questioning why the U.S. should take in Afghan citizens who work side by side with Americans, further exacerbating divides within the party heading into next year's midterm elections. Little more than a week ago, as the Taliban stunning takeover of Afghanistan still was snapping into focus, former President Donald Trump issued a statement saying that civilians and others who have been good to our country should be allowed to seek refuge. But in more recent days, he has turned to warning of the alleged dangers posed by those desperately trying to flee their country before an end-of-month deadline. It says, how many terrorists will Joe Biden bring to America, he asks. As Republicans level blistering criticism at Biden during the first major foreign policy crisis, some are turning to the nativist anti-immigrant rhetoric Trump used during his 4 years in office. It's causing dismay among others in the party who think the U.S. should look out for those who have helped Americans over the last 2 decades. And, this begs the question, why do they have to come here? All these U.S. bases, all these lands and territories that the United States occupies, why can't you take them to a base of something that's closer to their country, closer to where they're from? But just to stir the pot, just to make things more and more confusing, just to make things more and more perplexed, you bring them and drop them off over in D.C. Just millions and millions of dollars being spent doing all of this. Now, I talked to a guy who was a accountant or a comptroller for the Afghan refugee camps that they built over there in Virginia. And he said, man, the amount of money the military is spending on these projects is ridiculous. He said he's never handled all this type of money. And this is a guy that's handled hurricane relief funds. I'm talking about managed millions of dollars on his books. And he said he don't even know how to move the money. This is how much they're spending. This is tens of thousands of people that they're bringing into the United States. You see what I'm saying? But who knows what type of propaganda that they can bring out from this. It's creating all types of divisions, and it's creating all types of people wanting to fight and be divided. A house that stand against it, that's divided against itself can't stand. All of these things are linked to prophecy. All of these things are linked to them wanting more and more chaos. Okay? More and more chaos is coming. Daniel chapter 8 verse 25, it says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And this is what's happening when you see Biden get up there. He's magnifying himself in his own heart. And this is why he said, we're tired of it. We need you to take this mandatory Vicky. All right, it's for your safety. How much more so are they going to have, now the disease has spread, these borders are open, people are getting sick, we don't know this, we don't know that, we need to tag this person, we need to tag that person. Who knows what they're going to bring out of this thing? It's just a bunch of chaos and perplexity. All right? It says, and by peace shall destroy many. So it's supposed to be for your safety and your protection, and we're looking out for each other. By peace they shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And so, I just wanted to highlight that. We were talking about this in the chat, and I was just like, my take on it is it's just another piece within the algorithm that's just casting up dust in the virgin daughter of Babylon, and just making things more and more confused and unsure for everybody in the world, really. So we're going to see how the prophecies play out with these people and how things go down, and then we all know it's going to be for the good of the nation and for the glory of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors once again to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Aki. I'm out there pushing the word sincerity and truth. Let's get it. Shalom.